everybody, it's about 9 o'clock, 10th of February, Saturday morning, over at the garage, obviously, to get some work done. So the bonnet as I left it, or excuse me, the body as I left it, the cross members are in there, ready to be welded in. They're bolted down with the 2 hold-down bolts that each one has. First thing though, I'm going to grab the bonnet, get that over here, put it on the hoist, I think. Otherwise, it won't be able to lift it. Get that positioned as best that I can, and maybe or maybe not deal with the hinges there. I may use a hammer trick that Ellen used, because it's just not really worth getting the headache over the hinges right now, but I may have to, depending on how it fits up. So that'll be the first thing, because it's going to be the hardest thing, I think, and I want to knock the hard stuff out early while I've got some time ahead of me, and then depending on how that goes, I'll break into some welding, and then we go from there. Again, I'm doing this all in support of getting the outer sills fit properly, so that my door gaps to my sill gaps and my bonnet gaps to my door gaps and sill gaps and all that stuff come in relatively even and at least look halfway decent as it goes across the distance that the gaps are in. I'll show you a little bit closer as I get the things fitted up, where I'm talking about and where the concerns are. But it's going okay so far, so I'm cautiously confident, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, so after looking about 12 times, for some reason just passed me by, there's the bracket for the bonnet capture. So this portion attaches to the bonnet. You got a pretty heavy 9/16 bolt here, 9/16 3/8 bolt. So you can see that there's several slots cut in this, so that allows both a vertical and a horizontal adjustment, and then you've got a tight one down here. So essentially, how this bolts up is you have the bonnet comes in with a fork or whatever you want to call it. When I get over there, I'll show you a better picture of it. You got the heavy-duty bolt that goes through that. So you've got a very, very thick washer inside there, and then a metal sleeve that goes in. Then the other thick washer, if I can get that in there. Fits pretty tight. But anyway, so the fork for the bonnet would be inside of that, and this bolt just goes all the way through. And then there's a nut, which I don't have in front of me. Maybe I lost it. Anyway, it's one of the nylock nuts, and this one's too big, but the nylock nut goes over top of that. And then the other 2 bolts, again, they're sleeved. These are a little bit thinner, 1/2 inch head, whatever that is, 5/16, I don't remember the size. Several washers involved in this as well, and these fit pretty tight. So this has been beat up and smacked around a couple times from little fender benders and all that kind of stuff. But so this bracket goes onto the bonnet, and then it fits down into the frame, the front portions of the frame there. Now, unfortunately, what's going to happen is I'm going to get over there, I'm going to scratch the heck out of the frame on my pretty red paint, my signal red paint, when I put this thing on there, but you know, you can always touch paint up. So alright, so these pieces parts are pretty gummed up with dirt and mung and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to take them to the brass wheel and clean them up, because otherwise I'm just going to have problems fitting everything up. So try to get this as clean as I can with the wire reel, just to give me get the grime off of it to open up the spacing a little bit. So I'm going to do that now.
Thank you.
All right, got it all cleaned up. Hopefully it'll fit a little bit easier now. One interesting thing, make sure I'm getting this on camera here. You can see, ooh, there we go. You can kind of see the outline of the nut on the paint for the original red paint, and you can also see where the original red paint is here, and you spin it, and the red paint kind of goes away, and it's the black, and then it comes back. So if I wanted to really do an uber Contour restoration, I could put these in exactly the same orientation they were and tighten the nuts down to the exact same locations they were when the car was painted. But no. But it's interesting because that gives you a little clue on the process of construction, manufacture, because obviously the bonnet was completely on before it was painted. And you can see the outline of the red paint here, and then this portion would be inside that part of the capture on the frame, which I haven't showed you yet. So obviously everything was put together before the car was painted. I didn't even notice any primer on this, so just an interesting historical point there. All right, so I'm going to try to get this bracket installed as well as I can, and then we'll go from there. I'll get the camera over there and show you what I'm looking at on the bonnet side. All right, so got the bracket here, the bracket that I just cleaned up, all the hardware to get it attached to the bonnet. Big bolt here that's going to go through here, along with the sleeve that goes through there. Now on the other side, unfortunately, that sleeve is rusted in there right now, or at least the bolt is rusted to the inside of the sleeve. So that's something that I'll have to come through. I got PB blaster in there right now, but probably heat is what it's going to take. But it's in there, so there you go. So essentially this bracket will fit down inside the frame here. I gotta bend this in a little bit because it's there it goes. So probably from the paint and everything, it's not quite lined. But that bracket will go in there, capture good at this side, and then obviously this side will give you, when you adjust this, it'll allow it to fulcrum on that point. And then here you're just looking at vertical for the bonnet. So you're only a little bit back and forth and a little bit up and down. So my intention now is to get this bracket inside here, get it bolted to the frame, and then I'll lower the bonnet, I think, from there and approach it that way. The other side I'm going to have to do the opposite because I don't have a choice with the thing that's in there. So hopefully it's just this paint thickness and everything that's preventing me from getting this guy in there. It doesn't really look bent, so moving on from there. All right, so I got the bracket into the frame, scratched up a whole lot of paint, probably took some PLR 15 off of it also, but so be it. I'm not real concerned. I'll probably have to get in there with a wire brush and actually take it down. It's more better, good English, when I get to that point of, making a final fit here. The other side is going to be not too fun because, like I said, the bracket has seized into the bonnet. You can't really see that too well, sorry about that, but so I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet because it's not going to be as easy to handle, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I've tried this method before. I had my ball joint separator that I picked up at Harbor Freight forever ago. So what I'm going to try to do is force the bolt through. I tried to apply some heat, that didn't do anything. You may be able to tell there's a little chart in there. Fun, but it didn't help. So I'm going to try to go to town and see. It's been soaking PB40 or PB Blaster and WD-40 for the last several hours. So sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. So it helped me last time I did it for a rear trailing arm bolt, and it worked. So we'll see here. Alright, I am going to stand away from it and wear some glasses here. The other concern is that eventually, if this really doesn't start to go, it will start to bend and deform quite a bit. But I'm hoping because of all the washers and everything in there that may not happen, but I obviously don't want to mess anything up here. I'm not real concerned about the bracket because somewhere in my life the black cars brackets exist. And I do have the bonnet for the black car too, but I'd really not like to mess something up here, so we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm going to block the view here like this. Oh. Oh, that was easy. Well, that was rather anticlimactic. Good though. Sure, it was the heat in the WD-40. Still warm from all the gas. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. You can, whoops, you can see that big old gouge out, and that matches up perfectly. So it looks like this bonnet at one point got overextended, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to take this over to the bench, grind it up, and clean it up again, just like I did the other one. And then I'm also having alignment problems side to side. It looks like this bracket needs to go that way a little bit, maybe because I was banging the heck out of it. So I'm going to do that as well, and I'll be back to hopefully fit this thing up. All right, about 11 o'clock or so, actually 11:30. It's taking a little bit longer than I would have hoped, but it's all mounted in. So the problem I was having over here with it being crooked kind of sorted itself out once I got the bracket set in there into the frame. So all the washers that should be there are in there. None of the bolts. Actually put that bolt in a little bit backwards. Oh well, whatever. So it's kind of in under its own power, I guess you could say, but this huge gap here, all that means is I just got to roll the thing back a little bit. And if you remember, these bolt holes here on the bracket have that groove in it. So I'll try to do that and see how good I can get back there. The other thing that might impact me a little bit is the bumper stops. You got the little bumpers there, and there should be part of the body. You can see where my spot welds were drilled up. At least I hope you can see that. There's remnants there. I didn't put those things back on. I might have to do that. I don't know. I might have to drill that or weld that on real quick just to give me some vertical, or just try to get a spacer in there, a piece of wood or something, just to kind of hold it up. But yeah, so the bonnet's in, so it almost looks like a real car. Kind of scary, but there you go. So I'm gonna grab a bite to eat real quick and play with the bonnet fitment after that and try to get it aligned as well as I can. And then probably throw up a sill first and then a door, and just kind of start playing around. So who knows? We'll see how it goes. All right, so it's about 1 o'clock. Quick update. I got both doors on. Got the bonnet in there. I'm still not real happy the way that it's fit up. But I guess it's okay for now. I got the door jambs out, and I'm just trying now to get the doors adjusted. Obviously that's a really huge gap there. The whole door's got to come up and everything, but there's a couple different ways to adjust the door. One, you've got the hinges where they attach to the body. That'll lift you up and down and give you a little bit of back and forth, front to rear. And then the screws that are on the inside there that go and attach to the door itself will kind of allow the door to twist, kind of like this. So I've never really done this. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't have a whole lot of experience doing this, so there's going to be a lot of trial and error here. And this is, right now, this is loose. This is not adjusted, so you can see that it's obviously pretty far off. Who would have known that putting a door up can be such a pain in the rear? But so So yeah, so the bonnet's just held up with a piece of wood right now just to kind of get it out of my way. I want to try and get the door set first, get that as close as I can, and then drop the bonnet down, see how that lines up. And then once I'm happy with that, I'll drop the sills in and see how they look. There's little capture hooks here for the bonnet release latches, and I can't find them. And why I want them is because the wing of the bonnet down here kind of flares out a little bit. I'm not sure if they would normally do that or if it's just this one, but they both do it. So my guess is that's half the reason those latches there are to draw the inside of the bonnet in a little bit, but it's causing me not to align at the bottom of the door even close. It's a little distracting and painful to try to eyeball that, but I can always just push it in. But it's hard to know without that latch there how much it's going to suck it in when it does latch. So I'm sure I have them for the black heart. I'm sure they're around here somewhere, but I can't find them now. So that's where I'm at. I'm just going to continue to kind of do little iterations of adjustment and everything back and forth. I'm sure it'll get pretty tedious, and I'm not going to bore you with showing you that. But there you go. So upward and onward. All right, it's about 2 o'clock. I'm going to stop with the door, playing with the doors and stuff. Passenger side, as much as I hate to say it, doesn't really seem a whole lot different than it was when I had it on the dummy frame and no bonnet or anything else. So that's kind of frustrating. But so the problems that I'm seeing are right here. This gap, this is on both sides. That kind of scooches in and then trims down. The whole door here is kicked. Let me get it on camera. The whole door here, it's kind of hard to see, is kicked out. So that's obviously an adjustment thing. It must have happened while I was tightening something down. Not too bad of a gap there. It's a little wider than I would like, especially as you travel up here. That's not too bad, and then as you go down, it gets worse and worse. So again, that's a door rotation thing, I think. So I don't think I'm going to have too much problem coming through the passenger side. The driver's side, you can see there's that little larger gap there, and then it comes down. The driver's side is not too bad on the bottom, except the front here is just, I mean, I can fit almost my whole finger through that. If you see, I can fit my whole finger through that. There it is. So yeah, that's not good, which tells me that the door needs to come forward, because if you look there, that's pretty close. The gaps from the bottom of the bonnet to the sill are pretty good once I get captured and it gets sucked in, and this gap is pretty good right there between the sill and the bonnet, but it's huge between the door. So I don't think that was caused by me welding that A-post in improperly or without support, because I wouldn't expect it to do the whole thing to shift backwards. So to take up that gap would cause me to, not even be able to have the door clasp back here. My other concern was maybe the bonnet wasn't back far enough, but that argues against the bonnet and the sill working up really well. And grab my light here. If you look, the bonnet is touching right there on the front bulkhead, or very close to it, and it's consistent on the other side. It actually is touching right there, and it's all messed up and everything too. Looks like that's historical. So a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. So I still got a little bit of time left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the doors back off for ease of access, and I'm going to get these outriggers, or excuse me, the cross members welded in here, screwed down as necessary to maintain zero gaps, and that'll probably be about it for the day. But progress nonetheless. All right, so I'm getting ready to weld here. I got the cross member in there, got all the holes punched, got the holes cleaned up using the flattened drill bit. I've also beat the heck out of the front of it to try and meet up on the floor taper a little bit better. This one fits. The floor is a little further back than it should be, so that's causing that not to fit up quite right, but it's pretty close. So I'm just going to do a bunch of plug welds here. I did drill some small holes and put some sheet metal screws in there to help me keep the two pieces of metal tight, and I came through with a hammer, like I said, and beat down all around the holes to try and get them tight, because you really can't get clamps in here. So I'll try to knock out this side and then the other side, and then I think that'll be it for the day. Here we go. Guys in. Switch to the other side here, and pretty much the same thing, rinse and repeat. I'll get the screws out and eventually go back and fill the holes that the screws are in. Not the prettiest of plug welds, but definitely sufficient. So yeah, there you go. All right, everybody, it's about 3:30. Calling it a day here, and we'll move on to fight in the middle of the week. Essentially what I got done was I got the bonnet on. I'm going to have to put those supports in. I think that the bonnet cones over in this area fall down on to get proper height. Otherwise it just might as well get it done. I have to do it anyway, so I'll get that cleaned up and get that next time. Try to get the doors fit and everything, and that just wasn't playing. What's a little frustrating is it wasn't really any different than what I was experiencing before I'd put the car on the frame and got the bonnet on. But this is still the right way to do it. So, and then I got the cross members in. Some of the plug welds were pretty nasty, but especially the ones where there was some distance because of the way that the floor is shaped there. But it is in there and it is bolted, so I'm not that concerned with it. There's enough plug welds there that we should all be good. Heck, I might even leave some of the screws in there, who knows. But that was about it. So again, you know, it took as much time as it takes getting the body on, or excuse me, the bonnet on. That was a little bit of an ordeal, and I had to clean up all those parts and stuff like that. So, you know, there you go. So hopefully I'll get the cones on, the bonnet cone supports on next visit. And then it'll be the only thing I'll have left really to do, to concentrate on, is to get the outer sills on, and to do that to get the doors sit properly. So that'll encompass the next visit. Otherwise, thanks everybody for watching. Please subscribe if you are liking what you're seeing, and please visit the website at www.roundtailrestoration.com. I did post a new blog post last night on landing the body and getting it aligned the last couple days of work. So please, if you like something in addition to the videos, take a trip over there and read away. So otherwise, have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time I'm here. Cheers.